Xbox, Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. If you'd like to find out more, head to xboxrecordthis.com. Oh, hello. Daddy Diwali here, and welcome to Xbox Record This, episode 23. Joining me, as always, is the assistant to the co-host, Chipotle Bear. Chipotle Bear, how are you?
I am doing great. It's been a rough week. I was telling Bubba Boy before we started recording, my oldest daughter, who's 6, has COVID. So she is now at home in quarantine, and we're having to wear masks at home all day, which is a huge bummer. And she's safe, she's healthy, which is the most important thing. But it's just been not a super fun way to like get into October with work and Halloween and everything else going on. So we'll make it through. And she's doing great again. That's the most important thing. But I will be super excited to be out of this chapter of my life.
It's funny because I remember last week you're like, oh, the kids are sick, and Jen's like, oh yeah, Corey's got sniffles. That was it. That was the old COVID. And I remember I said, we're all going to get it eventually. And sure enough, Chipotle Bear and his poor daughters.
So here's the crazy part.
Who has it and who doesn't?
Just Penelope. Scarlett does not have it. And Victoria and I don't have it, but we're also vaccinated. Not that you can't get it vaccinated. But, it'll be day 10 on Saturday, so we're getting close now. Post getting it, so like we're mostly out of the clear now. It's just weird, like So all things considered, it's good, man. Happy to be here with you guys. Happy to chat about some Xbox fun.
Bubble Boy and Seven, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. I want to show off for all the at-home listeners.
For all you audio listeners, check out Bubble Boy's custom Renegade symbol and right trigger.
Yeah.
Strange Bill Belichick hoodie. Is that what you made?
Chance is all about those.
Very bizarre, Chance. It's actually you're reminding me. Systems Alliance also, and is that?
It's a Spectre symbol.
Okay.
Spectre symbol.
Okay, Bubble Boy, why don't you tell us about this custom hoodie that you made?
Yeah, so my new favorite article of clothing is the short-sleeved hoodie. Extremely versatile, I know. I think my mom's the only person that's been like, yeah, those are cool. So that kind of tells you something right there. But
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I got a black one, a camo one, and a white one. Actually, I also have a gray one. I made our Sod Dynasty Championship hoodies.
Yeah, fantasy ones.
Yeah, on the gray.
I want to know what the over-under is on the number of solicitations you've received from the Fair of Sexes this week, just from that hoodie.
Yeah, 0.
Is it a negative number?
Yeah, probably. Oh. Yeah, probably. It's got to be negative, but that's what I texted both of you guys. I was like, poor Ashley, if only she knew that what she was getting into when she was helping me make this was I was just going to have to be fending off ladies with a broomstick. This is a deep cut, though. Like, I would expect the two of you to recognize it. And
yeah.
Like, anyone who even played Mass Effect would probably recognize the N7. But there's no N7 on here. So
no, you're right. Whoever does compliment you on that will be like, they're a real fan.
Yeah. And
I'm actually shocked that you have the Renegade. I didn't know you were a Renegade most of the time.
So I'm not. I never am. That's what makes it even better. And because I had
He's a Renegade at home, folks.
Yeah.
He's a Renegade at home.
We had
a Renegade in the sheets, as they say.
Red iron-on vinyl from, I also made the black one into a Chiefs hoodie. So,
okay. It's very, that camo pattern you got there kind of reminds me of that hideous red and white
controller. Yeah.
So Chance that's one of his top colors. Really quickly, guys, I just want to give a public service announcement. I'm eating some of these Tic Tacs. It's not zooming in. There we go.
Big Berry.
Berry Adventure. Pass. Everybody, hard pass. Stick with fruit number 1, orange number 2, Don't get these. What's worse is I was like, these have to be good, right? I saw them. They're new. Saw them on Amazon. Ordered the big box of them. So now I have like 28 of these containers that I need to eat. So
Well, you know what? Halloween's coming up soon, so
Yeah.
get rid of those bad boys.
And then all the kids will skip your house next year. Oh, that guy gave Tic Tacs last year.
It's weird. The berry is, if it was just the berry, it would be delicious. But there's a hint of like mintiness they mixed in there, unlike the other mints flavors that they have.
Yeah,
so it's
people.
just not. Yeah,
Pass.
it's not good. But I will force myself to eat them all because I'm stingy and I don't want to waste the money. And these are a great snack because they say 0 calories, so I feel like I'm eating something, even though I'm probably getting in 10 calories in the whole case. So shout out to Tic Tac. Again, fruit, orange. Skip this one. Jose, were you going to say something quicker?
I don't remember what I was going to say. Something. That's what Chance's hoodie. If anyone does recognize that hoodie and they give you like the what's up, make sure you tell them about the podcast because I guarantee you they will be interested.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, right. Like
that
it's
is our
an instant-
audience right there.
Yeah,
and tell them about these Mass Effect props that I paid hundreds of dollars for as well. Gentlemen, we're going to go into the warm-up question. And this week, this is also a non-shout-out shout-out to Callipygian because he claims the Nintendo 64 is the greatest system ever. And we all know my feelings about it. I think it's Nintendo's easily worst console ever. And well, you're going to see here with my list here in a second. He writes in, hey guys, what are your top 5 Nintendo 64 games? I'm going to start off with Bubble Boy because I feel like Bubble Boy also
I didn't own this 64. That was one of the few consoles I didn't own, and so I based these solely off remembering like how hard I wanted to go over to either Chapeau's house, who did I say the other day, Ray Mariyama or Joe Whitney's houses to play these games, right? And so number 5 we talked about last week, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Number 4, Diddy Kong Racing, which some people probably have Mario Kart 64 higher, but I liked the addition of the planes and stuff on Diddy Kong Racing. That was cool. Number 3, Super Mario 64. Number 2, this is probably really going to hurt some feelings about Pilot Wings. I was really excited to go over and play Pilot Wings at Jose's house because I think he was the only one that had it too. And because at the time it was just like there was nothing else like it, right? And it got super boring after like 2 hours, but there was still something super, super cool and exciting about it. And then number 1, of course, GoldenEye.
Okay, I'm going to go next, probably, because I know you're the biggest N64 simp out of all of us. So my number 5 game, I have question marks. I couldn't even get 5 games.
Oh my
I literally
God.
have 2
What
question
kind
marks.
of gamer are you?
No way.
I swear to you guys, I swear.
You
I'm
had
like,
one, didn't you?
no. Okay, so that's the thing. Matthew, my younger brother, shout out to my brother who doesn't listen to the podcast. He was the one who got the 64 while I was gaming on the true greatest console of that generation, the PlayStation 1, of course. And I remember we got it after the 64, and I was a huge Super Nintendo. Like, Super Nintendo might be my favorite console of all time. And then it was just so disappointing with the 64, but we'll get into that another time. Number 4, Star Wars. Speaking of Matthew, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. This was the pod racing game that was bundled in with the 64.
Daniel, stop.
That,
Nobody
I swear,
with Anakin. Yeah,
We just lost 2 of our 16
Yes.
followers.
seriously.
Number 3, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Probably one of the best games, obviously, on that system, and just a fantastic game. Number 2, some people consider this the best Zelda game of its time or ever. I still am a Link to the Past fan. I put Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Great open world, but has not really aged well, was very big and bland at some points. And that water temple, I remember that was just a nightmare. I don't know how anyone could complete that without looking up. And then number 1, out of all the memories, and also not only with me and Matthew playing, but just a great party game. And I remember this was like a staple in high school. Mario Kart 64 is the greatest Nintendo 64 game of all time, just because of the party aspect of it.
It's not the best Mario Kart game of the 64 generation.
I don't know, man. It defined the Mario Kart genre. Jose, what do you think of? Let's hear your list because mine obviously was.
Well, just a quick note because I don't have Mario Kart on my top 5, even though I think it's a great game. I'm
What?
not hating on it.
What?
Here's the thing: if you have played any amount of Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, that is a much superior game for lots of reasons. Characters, different vehicles, the just the sheer.
What
amount
does
of
that have to
levels.
do with Nintendo 64?
I'm just saying, it's in hindsight, 64 was not that great. It was definitely better than the Super Nintendo, because if you've ever played that like on an emulator, it is rough. At the time,
Yeah,
I know it was a big deal, but it's
I
rough.
remember, you guys, I remember going to Kellen Mann. Do you remember Kellen Mann? I remember going to his house to play that and thinking it was amazing. Then I played it again on the Switch Digital. Not as good as you remember.
Not great.
I don't know, Jose. I was always way better at the 64 one. When I played Mario Kart 8 on the whatever system I had it on, I was like, I'm terrible, and I don't know.
But you
how
have to use
do
the Pro
sliding.
Controller. If you try to use the little things, it's like you get smoked by like 6-year-olds because they're just made for their hands.
Regardless. Anyway, let's hear your list.
So anyway, my number 5 was one that was very late in the generation of 64. It was like probably one of the last games they made before we actually started upgrading to the GameCube, was Super Smash Brothers. Because even though like it's really bad compared to like the modern Smash Brothers, it was the first time we had seen that in a game where it was like, let's take all of our favorite characters, like let's Ness and Mario and Yoshi and like let's put them all in an arena and fight with each other. Like that was a really cool idea, and obviously Nintendo smart and did it well, where there's no blood, it's not really quote unquote violent, but it's still a fighting game, right? So like it was just very well executed. So that was number 5 for me. Number 4, Ocarina of Time. I do agree with Daniel that it was very wide open, and that's what was one of its kind of appeals at first. It was such a quote-unquote big game, but in practice it meant just like running or riding your horse for freaking ever in the game, which I actually didn't like. But it is really iconic, the fact that you had to actually learn like the chords of the ocarina to like open doors and stuff. I can still remember some of those sounds. Like if you hear them, you just know that's from Zelda. Number 3 for me was Mario Party. Along talking about party games, that was also revolutionary at the time, like these mini games with all your favorite characters. And I mean, Chance and I alone, with my brother Julio, we poured hours into the first Mario Party, and obviously is a staple now of the entire franchise. Number 2 was Mario 64. Even though I know in hindsight it's not that great, when you play the levels in games, you're like, whoa, this was pretty blocky and awkward and stuff like that. It still was a huge step up. And part of the nostalgia for 64, for me at least, was it was the first time I was introduced to like the craze of gaming. Because when I got my Super Nintendo, they were like readily available by the time I was 7 years old. 64 was like the first one I faced where like it was Christmas time and everybody wanted it and you couldn't find it, and like people were fighting in Toys R Us for it and stuff like that. And so that just created its own hype for it. But Mario 64 was a great one. And then my number 1 also was GoldenEye, not just because it was an amazing party game and, so many hours we poured into it, but just like the way that you could be like, everybody wanted to be Oddjob because he was like a shorter target. And then they had like the codes where you could have like paintball splatter instead of like bullet holes. Like there was just so much to it that was revolutionary, and it was a great game just to play with friends. And it really it was a precursor basically to all of the Warzone and PUBG and Battlefield that we play today. Chance?
Yeah, and I think the campaign is underrated. It was really good and really well done, and I think it competed and did set the stage for some of those games that you mentioned. So
yeah, and you could even set like in the multiplayer that like modes, like you'd say like only the golden gun, everybody gets a golden gun, or only rockets. Like that was really, again, a precursor for things like Halo and stuff like that. 2 other quick games I do want to just mention in terms of honorable mentions. They're not in the top 5, but they're up there. One was Mario Golf. Just because in the world of Mario Kart, Mario Party, GoldenEye, which really were great multiplayer games, Mario Golf was a cool party game, but also you could play by yourself and was like really fun. Golf games are underrated, I think, in gaming. And then also Conker's Bad Fur Day, just because like when I played that as like a basically tween or preteen, as a juvenile boy, like was everything I wanted, like bad language and borderline edgy stuff in a game. And it was hilarious. So that was a shout out to Conker as well.
Thank you, Jose. Fun fact, I've never played Mario 64. Doesn't sound like I'm missing much. And I never got into GoldenEye. For some reason, I think
it was your number 1. You literally just said it was your number 1.
Mario Kart was my number 1. That might
no,
have been changed.
number
was
2.
my number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it wasn't even on my list. So thank you for that write-in, Stelling. I hope you don't bother us anymore about not shouting you out. Please feel free, if you guys have any top 5 video game and or food ideas, write us into xboxrecordthis@gmail.com. Again, Jose, what's that email address again?
xboxrecordthis@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. Let's get into what we've been playing. So I want to do it with Chance. Let's have you review The Medium for us really quick. And then I want to, together as a group, just talk about our initial impressions of the Battlefield 2042 beta. So Chance, take it away. What did you think of the medium? There, my Admiral Akbar just fell down behind me, guys. I'm about to fix that while Chance is talking.
Oh goodness, yeah. So I'm gonna start by saying I gave it a 6 overall, which is a good game, right? And I don't remember what we officially call it. Someone will have to pull that up. I'm terrible. But I don't. That doesn't. Some people might be like, "Oh, it's a D, right?" Like,
It's an okay game. That's what our rating is.
Oh, okay. It's an okay game, which it was. It really was. I had called it kind of like a long movie, interactive movie the other week, and I'm sticking with that. So I did finish. One of the things, and you'll know this about me if you've listened at all, is I had to knock it down a notch because I got all but one achievement, and the reason that I didn't get the one achievement just really pissed me off. And it was one of the, gosh, what did they call them? His old Thomas's like notes from his notebook, and it was like, oh, you only have to get 19 out of the 20, but then they were counting this business card as one, even though it wasn't, and so I had the business card, and I thought I had 19 out of 20, or I did have 19 out of 20, but the reason that they said you could have 19 was because they weren't counting the business card. Anyway, it's the whole thing. Stupid side note, but that really bothered me, and I can't get over it because there is no chapter select. That's another thing that knocked it down a little bit. So it was either go back, and the one that I missed was probably 3/4 of the way through the game, and I was just like, even though it was only a few hours, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So that was definitely a knockdown. Some of the cons, and the other con that I talked about last week too was just the controls. For a next gen game, come on, they could have done a little bit better than that. I did have some time so going on to the pros, I thought the idea of the dual worlds was well done, and it wasn't jammed into your face, so you just used it every once in a while. And then I thought it was really cool that when you were doing the dual realities, you could make it so that you were just in one of them, in like the hellscape, as I was calling it. I don't know if that's officially what it was called, but like in the bad world, you could make it so that you were just running around in there, but it was almost like you had a breath meter, like you were underwater or something, because you would start to fade, which I didn't realize at first. I'm sure it told you that, but I was just like running around because you got an achievement for being there for so long. I was like, oh, she's like fading away. I bet she's going to, oh, and I died. So that was kind of cool and kind of creative that you couldn't just stay there the entire time. And then, like I said, the story, it ended up being pretty good for me. I started to get a little bit lost when there was a part when you're playing as the other character, Thomas, which is not a huge spoiler, I don't think. I guess spoiler alert, but not really. That there's some indications of some Nazi things, and the team that the Bluebirds a European team, and so and the game takes place in Poland, and it like makes sense that they reference the Nazis, and so I was like, oh, this is going to be all Nazi stuff. But then it was just done. Like Thomas had a friend growing up that, from what I could gather, because you're just putting bits and pieces of the story together, that they were like hiding in someone's under their floorboards or something, and I kind of wanted it to go that way because I didn't like the way it was going, which was a child abuse way. And that kind of stuff always just kind of makes me sick and make me cringe. But it did pull itself together really well, and without spoiling the ending, I thought it was really cool and reminded me of Psychonauts, how all the like demons and scary bad guys in this game, they stemmed from someone's pain and someone's grief and sorrow and things like that, and their anger and the horrible things inside of them. And these were like manifestations of that, which I think is always kind of cool. So again, 6 is like Chapo said, an okay game. I'm glad I played it. I would have been disappointed had I paid full price for it, which full price I think was only $40. But I think it was worth $10, $15, and it's absolutely worth 3 or 4 hour playtime for free on Game Pass. So glad I played it. Got me into the Halloween mood.
Nice. Would you say that it would would you play the sequel if there was another one?
Probably
really?
not.
Okay.
Like if they had the thing is it probably, I have to imagine they would get way better, right? And so some of those things, like I talked about, like the controls that were just entirely to like PlayStation 1. They really were PlayStation 1 era, because it was like that Resident Evil 2 where the camera was fixed. You could tell me it. Okay, then tell me why. How is that not? Are you just mad that I'm dogging on Resident Evil 2 more than anything? Yeah, that's what I thought. So I think they would be able to get around that and fix that, but they clearly know how to do writing well and atmosphere well, and so yeah, I would.
Okay. Chipotle Bear, do you have any interest in playing the medium?
I mean, I was interested originally because it was one of, like you said, it was one of the first ports. There was like a Series X game, like made for the system, and in the horror genre, I like horror genre. From your review and Chance's review, like I'm looking, I guess, for more action in the horror realm as opposed to like just a great story that you're kind of walking through. And what I would say to the listeners is, if you're choosing between Medium or Resident Evil 8, it sounds like I would play Resident Evil 8 hands down, just in terms like of a fun Halloween or scary game for the month of October. Not to hate on Medium. Again, I hope they do well. I hope if they do a sequel, they kind of are able to work out some of those kinks and stuff. But right now, no, I'm not really looking to play Medium anytime soon.
Chipotle Bear, do you have physical copies of Assassin's Creed and Resident Evil, or was
RE8? I don't. I bought that one digitally because I finally started learning my lesson from you guys. Like, why am I buying these physically? I do have Assassin's Creed Valhalla physical though, if you want that one still.
Probably not. So speaking of spooky games, thank you, Bubble Boy, for your review of the medium. Chance and I both agree. I think it's worth your time if you're interested at all, especially because it's not a very long game, and it should be an easy 1,000 out of 1,000 if you're paying attention. But apparently, old Bubble Boy got hosed again, just like in Mass Effect. I wanted to say I started playing Alan Wake Remastered, and I'm just loving going back to it because I remember things, but I don't remember. It's like the perfect amount of time since I last played it, so it's like somewhat new to me. I'm like, oh, I remember now. What's really cool is hearing the commentary. Sam Lake, his little head will pop up in the corner, and he'll start talking, and so I'm playing with the audio commentary on, and that's adding. It really hasn't done so much. I'm only right at the beginning, Jose. I'm almost to the gas station at the beginning, I think is where you're going, and he hasn't said much, but he did mention he's going to talk about how it ties to control. So I'm kind of excited to hear about that. And I think, Jose, like, I remember you said when you watched the trailer for this, you didn't really see much of a difference. I need to load up and download the original and kind of compare, because to me, it looks good. It looks sharp, but like, is it like drastically better? I don't know. It probably is, but my mind is telling me, remembering, like it looked so great back then.
I'm telling you, man, the version that I played, which I mean, we're talking like a month ago, I thought looked real good, especially for a 360 game that was not. There was no like additional texture packs. There was no additional resolution. It was just a straight. You can play this because it's an old 360 game. I thought it looked great. And I'm curious, have you played a night scene yet in their new version?
Yeah, I mean, you start out and you're in nighttime, and you remember. But
well, I mean, I didn't know if you'd gotten past like the kind of the prologue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got past the prologue, and I'm going. Well,
does it look really nice? Because I thought it looked really good.
It looks really sharp. It looks good, but like I said, I think it's just in my mind. I thought the game looked great, and it is up to 4K and it is 60 FPS. But again, it's just Remedy games in general look great to me, just like Quantum Break did, just like Control looked good. I did turn off the film grain and motion blur because I'm not a big fan of that, so I tend to turn that off. So I highly recommend it. Again, guys, if you have not played Alan Wake, my gosh, totally worth the money.
A must play.
I'm gonna try to go for the achievements, but I don't know. I think you have to play through it twice because it's literally just the original game. Like Jose said, you have to beat it once, and then you unlock Nightmare mode. Then you have to play it again on Nightmare mode. So I'm like, I don't know. We'll see how much I'm digging it, but I'm loving it. Chance, did you have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I'm glad you just said that, because that's what's going to make me probably skip it. Because I was like, oh, this is great. Now that it's like this remaster, they'll probably just let you start with Nightmare mode. And that really bothers me.
Yeah.
That it can't. You would think it would be able to do that. So.
And it's a lot of collectibles. And I remember there was maybe one or two achievements. I can't remember if it was, I think there's some that are like timed, you have to do it, and I think there's one where you can't die, and so I don't know. There's a few in the DLC I remember that were a little tricky, so I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this all over again. I just kind of want to enjoy it. So shout out to Remedy and Sam Lake and Alan Wake. Yes, Jens, go ahead.
Before we start talking about Battlefield, I'll also say I'm playing Scarlet Nexus, and I'm at the very end of my first playthrough, and I'll be very, very excited to give a very thorough, better than what I just did with the medium, very thorough review of Scarlet Nexus, because I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, good to hear. That's good news. So shout out to Scarlet Nexus on Game Pass as well. So let's jump into it then, guys. Let's go straight to one of the big things that is happening this week as we record. It is October 6th, 2021. The Battlefield 2042 Beta is open. I jumped in immediately, like at midnight last night, to play a little bit. Shout out to Zapatista Miggy. He was randomly on. It was good to play with him. We jumped in. I believe I just saw Jose playing it a little bit. Jose, why don't you tell me, since yours is probably very brief, since you probably haven't played that much, why don't you tell me just your initial impressions of the short time that you played it?
I actually got to play quite a bit because, like I said, weird turn of events this week. My daughter has COVID, so I got stuck at home.
Oh, I forgot. Okay.
And so, as much as I would love to say I played all day, we had to do like her schoolwork and stuff. But anyway, found some time to play this afternoon, and I am really enjoying it. I really am. I will say it's not perfect by any means, the beta, and I will say it's actually way more glitchy than the Halo beta was. It's very significant. Like, there are lighting glitches, there are movement glitches. I've had trouble getting in sometimes, so it's the server issues. Like, I have not gotten diced. I do want to say that publicly on the record. I have not gotten diced, but it's definitely not as smooth. It's definitely a clear beta, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, like, that's what betas are for, right? But I've actually been pleasantly surprised how much I've been able to get in, and that once I'm in, I have not gotten kicked. So knock on wood, it's not that unstable where you're in it and then you glitch and you're out. It's once you're in, you seem to be okay. Once you get past all of that kind of the beta stuff and the glitching, I think the controls are really tight. It feels really good to be back as a medic. That was always the class that I liked playing. And so being able to like run and revive people, it just came back, like it was all rushing back to me, all the controls and everything like that. So I just need to practice a little bit. I do love the game mode. Right now, the only thing you can play is the all-out warfare on the giant, and it is a giant map. Definitely just a pro tip if you get into the beta this weekend. Don't start at the end of the map without a vehicle, because it'll take you 15 minutes to run into action. Like, you're better off just grenading yourself and falling in somewhere else. But really fun. It definitely is one of those where if you can play with friends or squad mates, it'll be 10 times more fun, because one of you is support and one of you is class and like assault and that kind of stuff. I actually really like the new control system where you can change the loadouts mid game. It took me a little bit to get used to like holding the trigger and using the X, Y, A, B buttons, but once I figured it out, I really like that system. And I like the fact that you can change the quote unquote like look of your character, even if you're not that class. So like, even though I'm a medic, I dress like a sniper. Like, I like that piece of it. So overall, man, I'm excited. It definitely gets me hyped for it. I definitely like to see some of the other things. I did get to play one match where there was one of the tornadoes, like the F5 tornadoes, and I didn't get to get in it. Like, I was trying to run into it, and I kept getting shot every time. But it was really cool. Like, I really like that piece, so I'm excited to see what else comes.
Okay, Bubble Boy, do you have positive thoughts, or should I just dump my negative thoughts right away?
No, I have a lot of positive. I like the grappling hook. I think it needs to be able to shoot significantly further, and maybe that's like the realism part of it. But I mean, I was just like running because and it wasn't the first time, Chapeau. It was like halfway through, and I just accidentally clicked down on the home base, and I was like, oh, dear God. And I was like, oh, but I have this grappling hook. I'll try and go fast. But it wasn't that fast. I was finding it wasn't shooting more often than it was because I had the reticle too high. So there was like nowhere to go to. But and then I will reiterate, like Chapeau said, I guess this is negative. It's almost unplayable by yourself because you have to have a medic, you have to have an engineer, you have to have that support class, like, and that assault class,
spawning on somebody, you know.
Yeah. I was extremely happy like first 2 things that I did, and it was so amazing. And I took out like 3 guys in a row because I snuck up on them, right? Which is something that would be so much harder to do in something like Halo. And I just loved the precision of the guns. But yeah, then I was just getting destroyed because I couldn't communicate with the rest of my squad, and I did see tons of lighting issues, like
Out of control.
If the game actually ran that way when it comes out, like I will be asking for my money back, kind of thing. Like inexcusable lighting stuff, and then tons of lag. I again never got diced. I think I started to think I was getting diced, but I was just being impatient. So I didn't get to see the tornado, so I'm jealous, Jose. But there was that big building that you go to. I liked the way you could like take an elevator half up, or you could take the stairs halfway up. And
was the door working for you guys? Because I literally just would morph through the door. And then just press the button.
Wonder, and so at first I was like, oh, it's glitched. But then I was like, I wonder if it just shuts off halfway through the level, or if it has something to do with like a power I don't know.
I only used the rope. I didn't use the elevator.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to bust this positive party you got going on. I got to bring the concerns. Okay. So like Chance and Jose both said, I'm glad you experienced this because I was talking to Raven and he was like, I don't notice any lighting issues. There are serious shadows and lighting issues everywhere.
God. And it like strobe light effects almost.
And I tried to make a clip of like what Chance said. There was this weird effect going on when I was just aiming down my pistol at a guy, shooting him. Very weird. I feel like, let's go. So there's the first thing, lighting as graphics. To me, I'm not that impressed. I do understand this is a much bigger game than Halo, but I feel like Halo looks and plays so much smoother. And yes, it is 100 and whatever amount of guys on a way larger map. But to me, Battlefield, I don't know if you need to add more. Like bigger and more doesn't always necessarily mean a better game. And I'm a little concerned that they're trying to do too much in a massive area. Like Jose said, if you spawn somewhere where you're not by a vehicle, have fun running for a half an hour before you see anybody. And then you'll get popped by somebody in a bush because you can barely see players. You can easily get spawn camped in this. I guess this is just a Battlefield thing in general, and I'm not used to it, but I just feel like there's a lot going on. The HUD is a little confusing to me. I feel like sometimes I can't read it. It's not very clearly detailed. I also feel like there's way too much going on. The guns, I tried the DMR. They give you a 2x scope on it. That gun is worthless with a 2x scope. I didn't feel like the guns were that great. I don't know. Jose said you thought they were dialed in. I feel like they're just...
I thought they were and it probably is the precision of the way you have to aim down the scope, right? Or aim down the sights versus in Halo where you don't always do that.
I guess, but that brings me to another point. Go ahead. Sorry, finish what you were going to say.
Well, it just, again, and maybe I'm thinking about it wrong in the way you can get such precision kills so much quicker than you can in Halo. That it's more that than the guns themselves.
Let me say that every party needs a pooper. That's why we invited Dan.
Okay, but I'm comparing it to Call of Duty, which does give you a nice range of close range red dot to 3 times. And I feel like that is a lot better and a lot more balanced than in Call of Duty.
You're right. I think we need to stop comparing it to Halo and compare it to Call of Duty.
I'm not comparing
2 years old now, by the way.
Which is crazy.
I was. Sorry, I said we. I was comparing it to Halo. When you think about it that way, that compared to this 2-year-old game, no, Warzone feels significantly better.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I also feel when you're aiming down sights with guns, it doesn't feel like you're zooming in that much. Like it's barely anything. Like it's hard. I don't know about you guys, but I was having a hard time just seeing guys and targeting them.
Yep, absolutely.
And aiming at them. And I can't remember other Battlefields being quite like this. I don't know. Maybe it's been a long time. But
it has been a long time. That's one point I wanted to make is that remember, they haven't made a game that's in the modern setting with modern weapons in a long time. Like we're talking 5+ years, dude. And here's the other part that we're forgetting that it's true in Warzone. And I know this because, Dan, you are a much better Warzone player than me. For the record, everyone knows it. Callipygian knows it. Nico knows it. Like, I am not very good at Warzone. But in Warzone, we've played so much at this point that we have all of the guns, we have all of the attachments, we have all of the perks. The same thing in Battlefield. We have none of that. These are all the very first stock guns that you get, and they suck. Right, but it's like any game. Like, it's going to take time for you to get better games and better gear.
Jose. Usually, the first ones are decent because they have to make it accessible to most players. Just like in Halo, the AR and the pistol, you can be fine with that. In Call of Duty, those initial M4s or whatever the MP5, those were some of the best games for a long time. They're giving us decent guns. Something's just off about it. I on the positives, it was quick to get into a game. It is impressive, the scale of everything, yes, but I'm not the biggest fan of everything being so massive. It feels like Battlefield. It's just mayhem. Like I forget that Battlefield is just crazy madness.
Mayhem is the right word.
And it's just a different type of play style. But maybe my thing is like, am I missing it as much as I want to miss it? Or, like, is Battlefield something I just have such a strong place in my heart for that I want to like it more, but maybe I've kind of moved on or it hasn't evolved enough? I don't know. To me, it seems a little off, and it definitely seems a little wonky, and that's not good. We are closer to this launch than we are Halo. And Halo, I know, is a completely different game. It has had more time in development, but Halo just seems like it's going to be a much more complete, and I have more faith in that game. I'm excited for the potential of Battlefield, but unlike, I feel like Chance and Jose, they both said it feels like Battlefield and they're excited for it. I'm not as excited for this as I thought I was going to be, and I guess I'm just a little disappointed. It is the first beta. Like Jose said, we don't have all the guns, we don't have everything, but to me, something just feels off. And when I play it, you guys, by the way, we didn't even talk about the graphics. I don't think the graphics are that impressive. Like, this to me screams a cross-gen game, like Battlefield 4 was to Xbox One and 360. And I know Halo Infinite is cross-gen too, but I feel like Halo Infinite looks way better than this. And when I'm playing it, Chance, it reminds me of Ghost Recon Wildlands. Like, that's the kind of feeling I'm getting with not only the jungle setting, obviously, in the map, but just the way they aim down sights and some of the views and the movement and the wonky. Like, it just feels like it's like a wannabe Battlefield game to me. So I want to be excited. I'm glad it's back into the modern or future setting. And
I wonder too,
concerns.
and I'm sorry I had to take off for a second again. Did either of you mention that, like, Conquest was always my least favorite way of playing anyway, just because it was so huge
and long.
And if you're not
these
playing
games take forever.
Yeah, and it's like it there was a point where it was like, what is the purpose? What am I doing right now?
Yeah.
Because I was in a game too where we just absolutely dominated, and that wasn't fun. No. Other games, like, if you were to dominate like that in Warzone, that would be a freaking blast, right? Like, you would be like, oh my God, we each got 12 kills, and or, something like that. I think if we were playing Rush right now, we would all have a probably a little bit better of an impression, just because, and especially on that one, like if I was poning the way we were earlier, or in the last game I played, that it would have been so much more fun, and you would have been able to see, like, physically, like, oh, okay, yeah, here, we got that objective, or we crushed them at the first one, and they didn't even get past the first one, something like that. I don't know. So I what I'll say is I'm still excited. I am glad I didn't pre-order
Yes,
it, though.
That's exactly my next point. It's like, is this worth $90 when Halo Infinite is free, even if we didn't have Game Pass, and Warzone is free, and that's all I play on Call of Duty. I don't even need Vanguard, and I like their campaigns way better than Battlefield's campaigns, besides Bad Company. So yeah, that's the thing, is like, I'm like, is this worth the money? I might be waiting. I don't know if I'm going to pre-order
I'd be
this.
so disappointed. I think at best what I'll do is just get the $60 version, which I guess is $52 at most, because just imagine if it doesn't get better and you spent, that's Jose's tattoo, right? The no regrets. Like,
By the way,
oh,
guys, ever since you
boy.
said that, there's this song I have on my when I'm listening to music. It's called No Regrets. Or whenever I see regrets anywhere, I think of No Regrets. Now, every time I read something, and I'm like, it's that stupid commercial and Jose and Chance.
No, it's
Anyway,
not a commercial. It's a
It's
it's a
from
crappy
We're the
movie.
Millers. That's
Terrible
what that movie was.
Yeah.
I thought there was a commercial of him getting a tattoo or something that says No Regrets. Like, anyway,
Yeah, there's a
No,
Snickers
it's
commercial too. There's
Yeah,
also a
see?
commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the kid has it like on his chest, and
That's
he's
what I'm
like, "No, I'm
thinking.
saying, no, I'm saying." He's like, "Well, yeah, I speak English and I'm breathing, so
Yeah.
I do know what you're saying."
So, okay, a few more positives of Battlefield. I do like it's back to Monitor Center. I do like the return of the motion sensor. I like that. There's kind of like, I think it's a timer where you can throw a health pack and then it'll recharge and you can have them. The buttons are the same. I like how you can pick different characters, different guns.
Oh, stop! I forgot to mention my biggest pet peeve. Why do you have to push a button before you throw a grenade?
Yeah, I
Why do you
agree.
have to equip grenades?
I agree.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I agree. You're right. When I press right on the D-pad, just put out the health. Why do I have to put it out and then press right trigger to throw it out?
What the hell?
Yeah, completely agree.
Okay, and you can say like, well, it's unrealistic to think you could just like you're here and then throw. I'm like, okay, all of these are
And
unrealistic.
on the other
okay?
games,
like,
you just did it anyway. So stick
No,
with it, Battlefield.
yeah.
I love the attachment adjustment. Whether or not it really does much, I don't know. And I think that might have to deal, now I'm thinking about it, with when you're aiming down sights, while some guns feel like they get no kind of magnification, well, and some do, is maybe that whole hold LB and switch your attachments really just does minor things. I don't know. But I like the idea of it. It's way better than whatever it was before, where you had to go back out to the main menu to customize any guns or anything in the previous Battlefield games. So I do like that. I think I'm excited, but like, I don't know if I'm going to pre-order this. And
You're
it's
excited
scary.
to play with the friend group. That's what makes it exciting. It by itself, in of itself, there are lots of concerns.
Yeah, and not to mention the jank. Like, let's be real, guys. This beta is a little rough. Oh, that's what I was going to say. My last point, I actually downloaded it on my laptop. So I have a laptop with a NVIDIA 1616 Ti. So it's not even the last gen. It's the gen before. And it actually runs this at 1080p. I think I'm getting 60 FPS. I don't have a tracker in there, but I'm pretty sure it is. And it felt good it felt better on my laptop, my few-year-old laptop now specs, compared to the Series X. That is not good. That is not acceptable.
Well, except remember, this was originally supposed to be a PC beta. That's why they got pre-access to it. So maybe that's part of the issue.
Yeah, I
Just
definitely
being optimistic.
I feel like the PC beta is running way better than the console experience that I had. So again, please, I hope we don't get diced. I'm holding off on my pre-order, and to me, that's not a good sign. I'd like to play it with you guys, so maybe we can get on it, but let's move on. We spent a lot of time on the Battlefield impressions. Let's fly through the news, you guys. Xbox news. First one, I'm shooting straight to Bubble Boy. Bubble Boy, there. Well, actually, didn't you buy one? There was a leak. There is a 512 gigabyte Xbox Series X storage expansion coming from Seagate. This is coming from Windows Central. Chance, did you buy the 1 terabyte, or would this 512?
I did,
okay.
because, and I can't remember. I don't know if I mentioned it on last week's show. 2 weeks ago, when we talked about the where are your old systems, and I said, oh, I just wait for GameStop to have those ridiculous like stacking deals. I had that.
We need to do a
and I
segment on
picked
our
up
GameStop trade-ins next week. Remind me.
Yep. And so I got the 1 terabyte Seagate, and I just was, for shits and giggles, was showing Ashley how fast it transfers. I transferred everything I
bet
had,
she got just so excited when she saw that.
She was actually
That's why she made the
like,
hoodie. She's like, we're making that Renegade hoodie
yeah,
right now.
You earned it. I'm talking like 8 minutes. That just, it was like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So I don't have any interest in the 512. I feel like this is good for maybe Series S owners who want to get a little bit more storage. I'm still confused at how Chance is using all of it. Like, I've got Destiny. Well, actually, Destiny's not that big. I have Master Chief Collection. I've got quite a few games, and I still have not failed. I have Flight Simulator. I don't have Marvel's Avengers like Jose there with 200 gigs.
Need it.
Yeah, that was huge.
It was more of like and then And I'll say it, I'm kind of glad. I think I want to go download Warzone again now.
Now
And
you
I'll have
can.
Warzone,
Yeah,
and we'll
heck
have
yeah.
maybe Battlefield and Halo and
Well,
like
I
all
have
these
it all in
different.
mind, so you have no excuse not to do it. I have Battlefield, I have Halo, I
Dan's
have
gone this weekend. You can join our quad this weekend.
there
with
you go.
Snelling and
Jump
Nico.
in, Chance. Go start the download right now because it's going to take you a while. Jose, do you have any thoughts on this, or should we move on?
I'm not opposed to it, but it's weird that they release a smaller version. Like it's really usually you start like a 512, then you release a terabyte later. If you're going to spend the money, just freaking spend a little more and get the
It's
terabyte.
the price point, though, right? Like, because how much is it?
Well, I'm assuming it's going to be half, so I'm $100, I would say. And then
But
they'll
yeah,
have
but,
the 2
but
terabyte,
for
200 less.
150 on sale to get the other one, it
It's
seems
never
like a
gone down to
no-brainer.
150. Lucky 189 is the lowest I've seen it. So I would go for the 1 terabyte if I had to pick one. I always say the more space, the better. But again, it's another option for people to upgrade who need it. But again, this to me seems more like Series S, or for some reason, if you're like Chance and you've got all these enhanced games, which I guess you do have a lot installed now and coming. So get the 1 terabyte. All right, guys, moving on. Coming to Game Pass this October, we have, and this is just a little announcement, out. This was, what day was this? Just a couple days ago. Totally accurate battle simulator. And this is coming from my good old friend Wario64. I know this was probably posted on Xbox, but we love that Wario. October 7th, the Procession to Cavalry and Visage 1012 is back for blood. Wow, that's actually coming up pretty soon here. And Destiny 2 Beyond Light on PC. I will be putting that on my laptop. I do enjoy grinding out on my PC as well. That is fun to finally have the expansions, because Destiny is actually free to play on Steam or other places anyway, but with Game Pass, you get all the DLC. October 14th is Ring of Pain, The Rift Breaker, and October 15th is The Good Life. Chance, do any of these games interest you, or Jose? Are you guys going to check out Back for Blood? Were you guys big fans of the what was it?
I never once played Left 4 Dead,
Oh.
right? But I watched Jose play it, and if he tells me he wants us to all get into it, I will download it and play it. It's worth. I mean, again, it's free. Let's give it a shot. I'd love to.
I think it's worth your time regardless. If you never played a Left 4 Dead game, I had a lot of fun playing them, but it's definitely, you got to play with somebody. Like, I don't know. Jose, did you ever play it by yourself, or in any of these games screaming out to you, or no?
Yeah, I tried by myself, and it's doable-esque, but it's definitely a lot more fun with the squad. So yeah, that was really the big one that I was interested in, was Back for Blood. It gives me vibes of like last year. Remember, we all downloaded Friday the 13th and during October, and it was just like a blast to play during that month together. So this kind of seems to fill that same void, in addition to potentially Battlefield and Halo obviously coming soon. But I'm sure they're great games. I don't know. I probably won't get to all of them, obviously, just because of time. But I just love to see all the free stuff coming for sure. So
yeah, I think it's good for Back to Blood to come out when it is, now that Battlefield is delayed, because I think more people are going to play it as a result, since they'll have this for a lot of October, then Call of Duty, then Battlefield, then...
Yeah, because Battlefield was supposed to be next week, right?
Was it? I thought it was like
good.
Maybe like
the 14th, I thought.
I thought it was like the 20-something, but anyway, regardless.
Either way, 2 weeks
delay
away,
it some more
after what we
delay it some
April,
more.
man. April.
This supposedly, this is only, I read this is a like months old build, only a couple months old. So okay, good luck. Next news announcement, guys. This is coming from our friends over at Eurogamer, those damn dirty Brits. Ghost Recon Frontline is a new and evolving free-to-play shooter for up to 102 players with smaller 9v9 offering and other modes. Like I said, this is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer. Ubisoft has announced Ghost Recon Frontline, a new free-to-play class-based installment in its long-running tactical military shooter series. Frontline will offer a variety of modes, but its flagship offering, available at launch, will be Expedition, a 102-person large-scale mode where teams of 3 complete objectives before calling for extraction. A secondary mode, Control, will offer 9v9 points-based affair, though details on this are more sketchy. In Frontline's reveal, during the Ghost Recon's 20th anniversary live stream, Ubisoft vaguely mentioned a traditional arena shooter offering, as well as other additional modes, which would launch with Frontline season by season. So, guys, I'm hoping you watched the trailer on YouTube. I actually watched it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited for this because this it seems to me like the roots of the old school Ghost Recon tactical games. It looks nice. It seems to be, I like the 3-man squads. I'm getting a lot of Battlefield vibes with this. I'm getting some old school, like I said, Ghost Recon vibes. It's reminding me of my good old days with Pendog. Oh, Pendog, where are you? On the original Xbox, I used to play the first game I ever played online. This looks way better than whatever that last one Chance played full price for and beat. My goodness. And
I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, don't go there. I liked Breakpoint.
oh my gosh.
Breakpoint was
We'll skip Breakpoint.
It wasn't as good as Wildlands, but
Not even close.
It was still a good game. I enjoyed it. I will just skip on ahead here. I am excited as well. I really think that they learned. Again, you learn from your mistakes, hopefully, right? And they did amazing things with Wildlands, and then they took a step back when they went to Breakpoint, and then hopefully took some time off to kind of, one, re-energize, and then two, kind of come up with what they really wanted to do and what they were good at, which is that when you say 3-man squads and that 9v9, that really, really gets my wheels turning, that I think that could be a lot of fun. So I'm not going to get my hopes up too high, but I have a feeling this is going to be a diamond in the rough that we hopefully spend a lot of time with.
I agree. And I also feel like I like the sound of that extraction where you have to like do objectives and extract. That sounds really cool too. A little bit of division mixed in there. This sounds way cooler than Tom Clancy's X Defiant. That's for sure. Jose, what are your thoughts on this? Are you a Ghost Recon guy? I don't even think you really
I
are.
played Wildlands. I liked Wildlands a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't play Breakpoint. So kind of two minds here. One mind is that, like, God, there's just so many games that are in this genre that it's going to be hard for this one to potentially break through. But maybe like Chance said, a diamond in the rough. I like that. I like that verbiage, that maybe will be a surprise hit of the season. And I do like the universe. I also thought immediately of X Defiant, and I was like, man, they are really stretching themselves thin on some of these like IPs. But definitely, I agree. I think the 3v3 and the 9v9 gives me like Halo vibes. Like that's similar, like squad size. So like, I do think that could be really cool. Obviously, execution will be paramount, but I'm sure it'll be visually stunning. So I'm excited. I mean, I will check it out for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. This is a kind of Ubisoft move that I think we should praise. I don't know. I guess it's getting downvoted a lot, but I feel like if you're a real Ghost Recon fan, you'd appreciate this kind of direction.
Well, and I think some of that is just people just because of that X Defiant thing, right? And they're just gonna lump them together.
And no
like,
Splinter
This is
Cell.
like their answer to that. Yeah, and maybe, and I'm sure what they'll do if it has any amount of success is later on you can buy skins, since it's free to play. You can buy your Splinter Cell skins.
Speaking of Splinter Cell, they just, I was thinking Microsoft should just buy the rights to make a game with one of their studios. Have somebody do that. They'll do a great job. If Ubisoft doesn't want to make those kind of single player games, Microsoft, go in there and get it. That would be amazing.
Arcane.
That would be, man, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But they're doing other stuff. But any of the Xbox studios, I was even thinking like Coalition could make a great third person game. Let's move on, and of course, we just can't escape him. Also coming from Eurogamer, from Tom Phillips, Konami has reportedly greenlit a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. This is supposedly in the works, and Konami is handling development over to Virtuous Studios. And this is coming to a VGC report that also lists a number of other upcoming unannounced Konami projects, such as remasters of other Metal Gear Solid titles and new Castlevania reimagining being worked on internally, all due to be announced next year. Gentlemen, I'm not going to lie. A Metal Gear Solid 3, not one of my favorites, Chance. In fact, everyone loves that one. I would go MGS 1, 4, 2, 3. And I forgot about 5, but 5 to me wasn't a complete game. That I'm not so much excited as for the MGS3 remake. I'm completely excited if they remake any of those other games and bring them to Xbox, especially like if they brought the Twin Snakes version of the GameCube MGS over. That would be amazing. I'm excited that Konami... You
didn't actually like 2 better than 3. 2 was awful.
I did. I did. I was not the biggest 3 fan. Anyway, we'll we'll have that as a warm up some other time, guys. Top 5 Metal Gear Solid games, great topic. I'm very happy that Konami is making games apparently, or giving them out to somebody. Konami was really focused on what do they own, Jose? They own like gambling machines and like they own everything. Like I guess they own gyms and
Don't they own
like,
this Street Fighter versus Capcom, right? Don't they own that IP too?
No, it's Capcom. Capcom. But
It's
anyway,
probably like those pachinko machines in Japan.
They own pachinko machines. They own they're like huge in Japan. Like gaming is just a small random sector of their business model and their success. So I'm excited that they're doing this. Jose, do you have any interest in Metal Gear remakes, or were any of you guys a Castlevania fan? I don't know. Did you play Symphony of the Night, either of you?
I never did. I would be interested in some Castlevania stuff. Just real quick, James. With Metal Gear, I didn't get into it till much later. What I think is strange about this is like, don't release them out of order. Like that's a weird thing to do if you're really trying to get people into the story. Go back to 1. And here's the thing. I understand that 1 may not be visually or story or whatever as good as the later games because they just came so much further with like better hardware and software. But it's like Mass Effect. We all knew in the trilogy that Mass Effect 1 was not going to be as good as 3 in the remake, but it is still really good, and it still was such an important part of filling in the rest of the story. It would have been bizarre for them to release 3 and then a year later release 1 and then 2. You'd be like, this is bizarre. Like, I don't think that's a smart move. I'll be honest with you. That's my thoughts, Chance.
No, I completely
That's
agree.
got Hideo Kojima written all over it, right? No, let's hit him with the curveball and go 3, 2, 4, 1.
No, well, he doesn't work.
But
Remember, he got fired from Konami. Remember, he doesn't work there. So this is all Konami owning the IP rights for some reason.
And I'm sorry if you just said it, Jose, because sorry. Did you bring up the Resident Evil? Like, they need to take a page out of Resident Evil's book and just look. They did it right. Do 1, do 2, do 3.
I didn't say Resident Evil, but yeah, that's basically what I was saying. It's just like if you're going to really try to get people into the story and remake the games, go back to the beginning. Don't start at 3 and then go back before that.
Gotcha. So, Chance, one more quick question for you on this. You played Symphony of the Night originally when it launched on PlayStation 1?
Yes, on Bros Bash with Bogus.
Oh.
I played it on the PSP. PS Vita? I had a P.
Did you like it?
I liked it. It was cool. I do remember, and I know, gosh, any super fanboys will stop listening to our show after this. I didn't like that, what the big twist in it is, right? Where you after
well, actually, I did hear about it.
Can I spoil this?
Don't you like,
right?
Okay, spoiler warning,
80-year-old
like,
game.
don't you like beat it and you like flips or whatever? Like,
and it flips and you do the upside down. And I was like kind of ready to be done with it when I beat it, like the normal beat it. So I don't know. I understand why it's so high up there on so many people's lists, and that was just like revolutionary. But to me, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good game. I enjoyed it.
All right, I have it on I bought it because it's backwards compatible on my Xbox. I tried the first 10 minutes of it and I got lost and I was like, okay, I give up. So maybe someday I'll go back if they do another remake. Second to last story here, guys, and this is I just wanted to hear your thoughts on this, Jose, since you're a resident Harvard of the West. Twitch had a big source code leaked today, and this happened today on October 6th. This is coming from Ed Nightingale over at Eurogamer. Twitch has acknowledged this morning's reports of a security breach, and it says it's investigating further. And we can confirm that a breach has taken place. Our teams are working with urgency to understand the extent of this. We will update the community as soon as the additional information is available. Thank you for bearing with us. So a 126 gigabyte torrent has been uploaded to 4chan, describing the Twitch community as a disgusting, toxic cesspool. And the intention of the leak is to foster a more disruption and competition to online video gaming streaming space. And so according to the post, the leak includes the following: in the entirety of Twitch.tv, with comment history going back to its early beginnings, mobile, desktop, and video game consoles, Twitch clients, various proprietary SDKs and internal AWS services used by Twitch, every other property that Twitch owns, including IGDB and CurseForge, an unreleased Steam competitor from Amazon Games, the Twitch SOC, internal red teaming tools, and creator. This is the big one. I actually looked at this creator payout reports dating back to 2019. Chance, I want to ask you really quickly here, since I'm sure Twitch doesn't really interest you very much since you're not a big streamer. What do you think the range of? I saw like 10 names of like, or maybe it was like 10 to 20 streamers per month. What do you think the range was that they were earning in September of like, it might have been just been last month.
Per month?
Monthly income from streaming.
You saying the top 5 or like a range from the highest to lowest?
This is a range of like, I think the top 20. Both of you want to guess? I'm guessing you didn't see this.
I would say 50,000 to 150.
Oh, I'm going to say way more than that.
Jose,
way more
let's
than
hear
that.
yours.
I'm going to say it's 6 figures or 7 figures. I'm going to guess.
For 1 month?
For 1 month. Okay, so Jose is very close. The smallest number I saw was $10,000 in a month for streaming. And then the highest was in like the 700, 800,000 in a month for streaming on Twitch. Can you believe these numbers, gentlemen? And shout out to Miggy, one of our best friends. He sent us a text saying there's some guy streaming on there and he had like a shirt on that said like suppress the rich or like, help the poor or something along those lines. And he was making 200,000 a month. So Jose and Chance.
A month?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say it's more than all of us put together.
Oh, yeah.
In a year, but it might. No,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Way more.
I'm saying in a year, though, but maybe
In
not.
a lifetime.
In a month, absolutely.
So, first of all, I did read someone saying, well, think about the top base major league sports players, like how much money they're making. They're at the top of their game. That's why they get paid so much. And that's true to an extent, but anyway, it was unfathomable to me to be making. God dang it. What have we had? 101?
We're at
101.05 F-bomb by Wally. If I could just make $10,000 a month.
And the difference that people get upset about is because you didn't even work for it, right? Like you didn't get off your butt to do that. But even us who are avid gamers are like upset about it. And I think the reason is because we're like, well, what's different about me or you? Like Daniel, your stream, I can remember you streaming Outlast and I had having an absolute blast watching you and Pony would like moderate them. Is it dumb luck that like some people, is it the right connections? What is it that makes it stand out? I know some of the girls that do it, I can understand why they make it. And that's a little, upsetting to me just because it's such objectification, but why not? Why can't we do that and make it? That's why we need to we'll do when this new Ghost Recon comes out, we'll do the 3-man teams and start making
shirtless
700,000. Yeah. Oh yeah. $700,000.
No, you're right, Chance. Some of it is absolutely luck, timing. Like I feel like Tim the Tapman, I remember seeing him when he first started and he was just funny. And he just happened to be on like the front page, barely had 50 viewers. Right. But he was, like I said, he was funny. He had this cool little Tim, whenever someone would subscribe or donate or whatever. And he just built on it. I do feel like Dr. Disrespect is on a whole nother level with production and acting and staying in that role. And I do kind of understand it. A lot of it is luck. A lot of it is skill. I would say it does take a lot of, like with the doc, I think he has skill and he also has the persona that he does a great job and he puts in the effort.
So just think about it this way. If all three of us were to quit our jobs today, could we, between Daniel's skill of video games, Chapo's skill
Charisma.
Of computers, and my absolute hilarity, could we pull it off?
No.
And I think the answer is yes. I think we should all quit our jobs.
With this
let's do it.
Of luck. But I think...
Call Lynn and Ahmed up. I don't have a principal, so I don't have to call anybody. You guys...
Jose, let me hear your thoughts on the whole leak and also how much these streamers are making.
I mean, the leak itself, I know people freak out. And I don't want to say that's unjustified. It's always reasonable to be concerned about your data privacy. Like, that's totally reasonable. But like we've said before in the show, unfortunately, it's a function of the world we live in today. In a world where everything is digital, there are always going to be people trying to break down that digital hierarchy for whatever reason, because they feel like Twitch is disgusting, because they want your personal information. Who knows? And so is, your best defense to that is not finding the most perfect solution, because that doesn't exist. The best defense is just being able to adapt to it as you need to, watching your accounts, taking care of your stuff, and having strong passwords, definitely helps. But in terms of, the Twitch leaks, I mean, it's a little laughable to me that people are so upset by the money. There's a reason why this is a billion or almost $1 trillion business every year. Like, where do you think that money goes? It doesn't go to buying hardware or software. It goes entirely to the content creation piece of it. And yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, it's unfathomable to me to make 6 figures a month playing video games. Like, that seems so far away from anything I could ever do. But I'm also I don't put in the time. And that's the thing people also don't realize. Like, yeah, Tim the Tatman probably makes a buttload of money, but he spends more than 8 hours a day on his computer, gaming, commentary. He probably has a full production team. He's paying other people. He's not just some dude living in his mom's basement who's making a ton of money. Like, that is a lie that has been fed by like the media that can happen. Like, even Ninja, the biggest name in Fortnite, a year ago, sorry for the cat noise. He worked a lot, and he did get lucky, to be fair. He got into a new game. He was really good at it on the front end of it. But at the same time, he puts in hours and hours of work to do this kind of stuff. And whether you like it or not, he's a good player. Like, you can't watch his stuff and not be like, damn, that was impressive.
And he started in Halo too.
Yeah. So, I guess more props to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to do that one day. I hope the podcast takes off and we can quit our jobs. Exactly. I would love to do that. But since I can't, it doesn't mean I can't enjoy other people. And if we truly live in this micro economy, one last point, you remember 10 years ago when cable was still a big thing? And everybody was like Comcast or whatever your cable company was. And then they were like, oh, cable companies are going to start offering a la carte channels. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. And we didn't think that reality would ever come. And now the internet has flown so far past that with things like Patreon and OnlyFans and all these things. We basically built that economy for ourselves. We're seeing the same thing, right? The difference is now, instead of a mega corporation like Comcast making all of that money, even though Comcast is doing fine, we're seeing it spread out to the people, and people putting their money where they want to see stuff. And if you are good at content creation, the money will come, right? With a little bit of luck, of course, and maybe some good lucks for sure. So sorry, I talked a lot. Chance?
No, you're good.
No, because I want to piggyback right off of that. The people that are upset about this, and because you could call me upset about it. What's strange to me is because this is all crowdfunded, right? Like, when you jump on and you donate to that, who's clicking on that article and writing that they're upset about it, unless there's someone who cares about Twitch and is donating to Twitch, right? Like, my mom, who wouldn't ever even know what Twitch is, even if I explained it to her every time I saw her for the next year, 2 years from now, she'd be like, wait, what? Twitch? Are you okay? Like, you have like something wrong with your eye? No, these are people who, right, like that, and that clearly care about the medium and the platform. You're the problem. So don't complain about it, right? Like, I don't understand that. I think it stems from jealousy, and I think it stems just from that internet, like, I have my soapbox and everybody needs to hear it kind of thing. That's just like, no, man, good for all those people. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth to think that, again, all three of us, you combine our salaries and we have a fraction of that, and we work our butts off in jobs because then the other side of that, let's remember, are very meaningful jobs and have a pretty massive impact on today and the future, I like to think. Not sure that's the case for even someone like Ninja. So we got him beat there, boys.
Yeah, we got to beat somewhere.
At least
guys.
We could sleep good. We're losing our hair and we're gaining weight, but we can sleep good.
Speaking of hair, I was getting my hair cut today, guys, and I looked down and I just saw so many gray hairs. Like, I remember when it was just like, oh, there's a few here or there, and now I'm just like,
you're like, did you forget to clean up after the other guy? Like,
was like, oh my god,
the old guy that sat here?
But at least we've got hair right there, Bubble Boy. So let's close off with the final news story, and this is simply for Jose, because he's the biggest Apple simp there is in America. He wanted to brag about Apple's recent gaming go ahead, Jose. Share your news.
For the record, I did not want to brag. I don't even own stock in Apple. What would I be bragging about?
You would, yeah, but I mean, if you could, well, you could.
Dan's
have,
right.
you just
I
didn't buy
am a
it.
huge Apple simp for sure. There was a recent story that came out that said that as of, I think it was like a couple days ago, Apple is officially the biggest gaming company in the world. If you combine all of Microsoft, PlayStation's, Activision's, and Nintendo's earnings together, Apple's is more than that this year. They actually made $8.5 billion in profits just on gaming this year. And, you know, we had a conversation in our little chat channel today that obviously, like when we talk about gaming on your Apple device, whether that's an iPad or phone or your Mac, whatever, they're different games, right? We're not playing the big 2042s and the Warzones and stuff like that, even though you can. I mean, they have like PUBG Mobile, Warzone Mobile, that kind of stuff. We're talking about like microtransactions, and it is pretty insane what people will put into that economy. So we're not really comparing apples to apples, but it is. I always like to just bring it up because of perspective, right? Because when we talk about all these acquisitions between these companies and all the big moves that I think all these companies are doing, and how much we love these companies, and we're honestly cheering on all of them because it's a medium that we all love. It's pretty mind-boggling to know that they're really shadows in the world of corporations with some other studios. And you know, it's been interesting watching the Apple stuff. If you've been following with like the Epic trial and all that stuff, like admittedly, I think Apple does charge too much for their developers. I would love to see them be more reasonable. They make plenty of money. I will be the first to admit that. But I also, on the other side, think they make good products. That's why people buy them. That's why people love them. And so I truly do believe that Apple is a good-hearted company, if such a thing could exist. And I would love to just see them do more in that realm. Not just with gaming, but just with encouraging gaming and encouraging healthy stuff. You know, one quick note, I know people make fun of Apple Arcade. I think Apple Arcade was a good step in that direction. Instead of these games that require microtransactions, you pay the monthly fee, which again is more money to Apple, but then you get a full game. And they're good games. Like I've been playing through them. They're cool games. You know, they don't compare to Xbox, but they're pretty dope. So
Yeah, sounds like Xbox Game Pass. Thank you, Jose, for sharing.
No, and because pun intended, it's not apples to apples, right? It's apples to oranges, and that's where like I was shocked, but then not even shocked and not surprised. It's like, okay, well then put that up next to how much money did the MCU make last year or something like that. It's almost the same kind of like not comparison because it's a totally different. Like my mom and your moms are probably included in that Apple gaming thing,
they
right?
accidentally ordered an
gamers.
extra thing from Candy Crush 2 years ago. Like, yeah exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and my mom playing solitaire and Words with Friends and stuff. Like, and I know those probably games don't cost, but that's the kind of market that they're weighing in on, which is, think of all of the people you know, how many of them are gamers, or just at your work, how many gamers are there at Bear Creek versus how many just normal people are there with an iPhone,
and who will play some dumb game to pass the time. Yeah, it's crazy, and this just shows how much, like Jose said, how much money goes into gaming. And now we know why Microsoft spent so much money on acquiring these studios. Like they know that content and these kind of subscriptions are going to be key. Apple knows that, Amazon knows that, PlayStation knows that, but they're doing their own thing. And the same with Nintendo. So there's a lot of money to be made. Breaking news though. Thank you for that story, Jose. Breaking news. I don't know if you can see this on my cracked screen. Victoria Martinez started following Xbox Record This. We did it, you guys. We got it.
It's because I threw the stink eye over her when she went to bed over
got another follow
ago. Thanks, babe. I love you.
Thanks.
She's like,
shout out.
I gotta follow this podcast. She's gonna yell at me again.
Yeah. Moving on. Let's close off with the good old days really quick here. We were thinking, this comes from Rock Quarry. Shout out to Rock Quarry, a big time babble. Go check out his podcast and all of his stuff on the and his merch. Rock Quarry sent us a text earlier saying, "Hey guys, what should we talk about?" And I remember Jose sent out a response saying top scary movies. So Rock Quarry writes back in and says, "Hey boys, we love the topic so much. We want to hear your top scary movies from Xbox Record This." So thank you, Rock Quarry. You're welcome on the show. By the way, we got to get you on the show. Bubble Boy, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Sorry, I need to go first, and you'll understand.
No,
why,
let me go first. I need to go first.
No,
I really do need to go first. I only have one. It's Signs. That's the spookiest movie I've ever seen. I'll never forget being at the theater and seeing that alien walk by and Joaquin Phoenix just backing up. That scared the literal caca out of me. I still, whenever I watch it, even when I know it's coming, I'm like freaked out. I get chills up my spine, you guys. Signs. Underrated, scary movie. Awesome ending, though. I loved all of the whole pastor breaking away, the water. Love Signs.
I actually almost texted
best
you guys
movie
and said, "Are Shyamalan movies? Do those count as scary movies?
Yes.
Like, can I include one?"
You're telling me Signs didn't freak the caca out of you when that dang alien walked
the alien
by?
scene
And the hand,
it scared
and the
you.
hand.
You're right.
But
Come
that's your
on,
top
dude.
scary movie. I think you misunderstood the assignment.
And,
I'm not-
and jump scares, because the hand was a jump scare. The alien thing was like that shakes you to the core, and you'll remember.
I have
it's
another
scary.
one.
So
I have another recent one. I for some reason, like, I've seen scary movies, but none of them stand out to me. I have one more. I recently watched The Witch the last year before. Also, very spooky movie. And
I hear
that freaked
amazing
me out.
things about it.
You haven't seen it?
I need to.
Oh,
The Witch.
You need to watch that
like
in
it's
the dark
like
with Ashley.
Puritan England,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Make
No,
sure
I
subtitles
need to.
are
I
on
really want
because
to.
their English is really English. So
Yeah.
very like disturbing. The Witch. Shout out to The Witch.
Okay.
So that was the more recent one. I need to catch up, and I want you guys to go because these are going to give me some movies. I do want to watch. Shout out to the Kind of Funny guys. They're doing Scream in review recently. I want to go back and watch those. I've seen them all already, but I want to go watch them again because I'm sure Allie hasn't. She hates scary movies, so I can't wait to hear yours. Bubble Boy, give me your scary movies really quick.
I guess I just didn't know that about you, Daniel, because I was like, I have to go first because I want to preface this. Here are all the scary movies I haven't seen. All right, this is my first list, these are classics that I've missed: Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Exorcist, Alien, Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, and any of the Child's Play or Chucky movies. I haven't seen any of those.
I can add to that. I have not seen some of those, Nightmare on Elm Street being one of them. I only remember Freddy Krueger as a small child. Here's some deep breaking info for you guys. I had a nightmare of Freddy Krueger stabbing me, and I still can clearly remember this to this day. I was in my house in Chicago. I was running away from him from like a random mall, and I was hiding behind this pillar. He came around, stabbed me through my stomach, and I remember feeling this as like I must have been like 5 years old or younger, and I still remember this nightmare, you guys. I still have not watched Nightmare on Elm Street, so screw up Freddy Krueger. Chance, I have not seen some of those, but
I get it.
I was young.
And Chappelle's gonna quit. I can just see. Yeah, and
but
I'm sorry.
Chappelle, I
Jose.
like scary movies.
I'm sorry.
I've seen a lot of those, just not all of them.
So, yeah, and I think here's what you can see. I'm looking at my list here, right? There's all those classics that I missed because I was too scared when I was younger.
Oh, wait, let me add a chance.
And then I have this.
I went back, sorry, and I started watching the Jason movies. I did start watching Jason Voorhees. Remember, after we played Friday the 13th on the video game, I watched like the first three. Chance, you should go back and watch those because those are hilarious. They're not even scary.
I will. So that's what I'm really excited that, like, because of course I was like, I want to watch some just random YouTube videos as I was holding a baby the other day. Like, I want to see what some of these are, right? So you can see that I missed a bunch of classics when I was young and I was too afraid. But then you can see me getting back into scary movies when I got older, but not going back to the classics. And then I go away from them again because I met Ashley, and she absolutely hates scary movies. So I haven't seen like all the new, like The Conjuring and The Witch, like you said. So here is my top 5. And I, in one of the videos I was watching, and I should give him credit. I wish I could. I'll have to next time remember. What he said was, he's like, please remember, this is my list. This is not a definitive list. This doesn't mean these are the best. This is what scared me and made, or like I really liked. So I liked that he said that. And so here we go. Number 5, From Hell, with Johnny Depp, which is about Jack the Ripper. I love all things Jack the Ripper. And so that one, if you don't know anything about Jack the Ripper, there's all kinds of theories on who he was and what his motivations were. And I really like what the theory is on that one. Number 4, what probably kids these days would say, "Oh, that's a classic." Saw was so revolutionary for the time, and when it came out, and just all the different death scenes, and of course it spawned like 18 other movies. Nothing's better than the original with the Princess Bride in it. And so, yeah, number 3, and this was the one I was like, I need to clarify, The Sixth Sense. I assume it's a scary movie, right? Does that count? I don't know if Chappelle would count it. Okay, he's saying yes. But again, and I just remember being mind blown.
Great movie.
In that, and I was like, I gotta go watch it again 17 times to see all the red and stuff. Guess what? Haven't ever watched it again, not even once, which is so strange, and I need to, because it was really scary to me too. I was like, I've always had this fear. I've never actually, I don't think, seen a ghost, and I've always had this fear of having to see one, because I have to partly believe they're real, but then I'm like, but I don't, not for me. They're real for, out there. But okay, number 2, and I'm excited to do this with you. Scream. Scream was fantastic. Ashley and I, before this topic came up, happened to be talking in the car the other day, and this movie came up because she was like, what was like the one movie as a kid that really full blown scared you? For me, it was Scream, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was real, right? It wasn't some supernatural thing. It was just that the first movie that I remember seeing that was like, oh, it could just be like your friend, like it could be anybody, right? Like probably not Jose,
Probably
but like
Dan.
maybe it was Ray, yeah, or right, like. And I can remember if Chapeau, if you remember our house on Virginia, I had that first room on the left, but then there was the one down the hall next to my parents, and there was a period of time where I slept in there with Court, but no, I slept on the love seat couch in my parents' room for like 3 years after watching that movie, and Chase still makes fun of me, and like every time we meet. Because that movie just absolutely
I had the Scream mask before it got popular. I was like that random mask before, and I thought it was the coolest guy. I was like, I was Scream before.
Yeah,
Scream.
and that in itself wasn't scary to me, but there was just, man, that movie did me dirty. And then number 1, and I hope this is why I wanted to go before, or at least before Jose, mostly. House on Haunted Hill is my number 1 favorite.
Such a good movie, dude. Such a good
and
movie.
I saw it with Jose in the theaters, and I remember because it was A, scary, and B, I just really liked it. The soundtrack was fantastic. There was another Marilyn Manson shout out in that one. That was the dope, or not the dope show, the Sweet Dreams, the Sweet Dreams remake that he did, and just a really, really, really good
that opening scene with the
movie.
roller coaster is really cool too. Remember?
Yep. So good. So then, and I had 3 lists here. I'm really sorry to do this, but I loved this topic. I had some honorable mentions: Final Destination, all the Final Destination movies, because of just all the creative killings. The Ring was really hard for me.
The Ring, yes, that would be on mine. That freaked me out. That
I went back and forth
Scream.
between The Ring and From Hell, but again, From Hell was real, so that's actually really scarier. Right?
We don't know The Ring is not real.
Well, okay, but The Ring was awesome.
Dude, The Ring.
Identity was up there. I don't know if you guys remember Identity.
I don't know if that's a horror movie though. It was a good movie, great movie, but I don't know if it's a horror
and
movie.
that's why I moved it down. But I was like, well, there's just all about murder, and then the other one, I don't know. So, Jeepers Creepers was one that actually genuinely
scary movie.
Justin Long too. That was a good one too.
Yep. Forgot about that for a reason.
You're like, what is that?
Scary, disturbing.
And then the last one that I want to talk about is the Blair Witch Project. And the reason I almost wanted to put it as like number 1 or 2 on my list, because at the time when it came out, the idea of it was so scary to me that I refused to see it. And that lasted, a month or so. But then it got to the point where I was like, but I don't want to see it, because then, you find out it isn't actually real. But still, I don't know. And that, when you think about all the like Paranormal Activity and all these movies that have come out since, like that paved the way.
Okay.
Paranormal Activity is also really creepy, man.
I was going to say, Paranormal Activity, you said
start questioning around you and stuff.
Haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, you're right.
You should
Okay,
check
Chance.
those out.
That is scary.
And those are all the, like, if it happened since we've all had jobs, like the 2010 and on, I haven't seen them. for the most
Well,
part.
thank you for those, Chance. What was the other one you said? Jeepers
time out.
Paranormal
Gosh,
Activity.
That's the ring.
Ones.
The ring.
The
was the other
Ring.
one.
Those three right there.
Final Destination.
And Final
Identity.
Destination, that would be on mine too. There we go.
I put one other thing on here, and
Signs.
the only reason it was because signs, sure. And my honorable mention, it's not actually, it's a TV show, not a movie, but Haunting on Hill House, season 1.
Oh, God,
And the
so
reason that
good,
I think
dude.
it counts is because that's it. It's one season. They did a second season, but it's a completely different story. Haunting on Hill House was amazing. If it were a movie, it probably would have been my number one scary movie, because it not only it feels really real, right? It's still about ghosts, but it's so real, and then they make an incredible psychological explanation, and just personal explanation for why it exists the way it does.
Yeah,
and I can't say any more without spoiling it, but Daniel, you have got to go watch
It's
that
a
if you
masterpiece,
can.
dude. It's so good.
Yeah, so
What's
I know
it
I
on?
spent way too much time on that.
It was on Netflix
It's either
originally.
Amazon or
no,
Netflix.
it was Netflix.
And which means I can't go back and rewatch it because I don't have Netflix.
I do. Thanks, T-Mobile. Jose,
So-
you have 5 minutes, and then we're rolling out of here. No, I'm just
So
kidding. You can take
my
a
list
No,
is 15
don't do that to
movies
him.
long,
Okay,
but
hold on.
I'm gonna
you
go
guys.
quickly.
Jose
Yeah.
loves Halloween and the spooky season, so we're gonna give him this time in this segment. So if you want to dip on out of here, don't, because Jose deserves it, and we'll end it really quickly after this. So Jose, let's hear your list. Bubble Boy, I loved some of those. I completely forgot about them, probably on purpose because they were terrifying. So
Yeah.
The Ring, Jeepers Creepers, Final Destination, and whatever that other one you said was. So Jose, let's hear your.
So I'm gonna go as quick as I
definitive-
can.
Wait, do you
I
have a
think my
top- wait.
favorite.
Do you have a 5, 10?
No. Take your time.
Yeah,
though,
take your
Chipo.
time.
Take your
Chipo.
time. You don't have to
This
go
is
quick. 'cause
your
this
segment.
This is
We're
your Super
closing-
Bowl, man.
exactly. We
And
are-
I know I realized how emotional scary movies actually make you, and I wish as a medium they got more credit. Right, like it wasn't until Silence of the Lambs that they started to
Win
actually
awards.
get any credit.
Actually, technically,
and-
The Exorcist was before Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh, yeah. I
Okay.
still need to see that.
But anyway, yeah, no, please take your
Okay,
time.
Jose,
'cause
let's
you're
hear the
expert here.
definitive spooky season scary movie list as provided by Chipotle Bear. Timestamp it. Go.
So, first one on the list was actually really recent. We talked about it on the show. Was Fear Street? It's on Netflix as well. If you didn't have a chance to watch Fear Street, it's basically 3 movies. They're like a little over an hour each. They take place at different periods in history. One of them is in the Puritan, like 1666. Really cool, man. It was actually written by R.L. Stine, Goosebumps guy, but they're definitely adult themed. They're definitely don't watch them with your kids for sure.
Did you read Fear
but
Street when you were younger, Jose?
I did not.
Oh my gosh, you're blowing my mind right now. You
I
never
know,
read the
I
Fear
know.
Streets?
No, I need to. I know. Because
They
I
were
did
like-
Goosebumps.
Wait, it was a book first.
guys didn't
There's
know
a whole
this?
series. There's a whole series.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, this
Oh
is
no.
this.
No. I knew it was
Dude,
R.L.
yeah,
Stine,
exactly.
but I
This
didn't know
is
it was a book.
speaking of. So rest in peace, Baca. Baca introduced me into Fear Street, you guys, and that
Yeah,
was like
I've heard
the
they're awesome.
best. They're
I wanna
awesome
read 'em
because
with
it's like a
Penelope.
step above Goosebumps. It's
Goosebumps,
like
yeah.
real. Oh my! I'm shocked, Jose. Disgusting.
I know.
Keep going.
No, so check out the shows though. 3 of them, they're totally worth your time. They're really good. They'd be great to watch during Halloween this month. Next up on the list, Exorcist. If you've never really seen The Exorcist, it's really pretty freaky. And like, if you are religious at all, like I grew up very religious. I'm currently not as religious as I was, but still respect it, still believe in God and that kind of stuff. It's a great movie. And it also, if you ever get into the history of The Exorcist, a lot of really weird stuff happened on this production. Like a guy died during production, and a lot of weird things occurred. And like it
Yeah, tell us more. Or if you know more, because and something with the kid,
Just
right?
go look it up. It's very
well, she
terrifying.
never got it was hard for her to get cast as anything else because everybody always saw the freaking demon, and they did a great job, and especially because as old it is, he was nominated for an Academy Award. Like,
Yeah, I
great
remember
movie.
that.
Check out The Exorcist.
Wait, is this the
next,
same one as The Exorcism of Emily Rose? Is that the same one, or is that a different one?
Totally different.
Also
Totally
scary.
different.
Chance, have you seen that? Don't watch it. Scary.
It's
okay.
very scary.
Now you're bringing back these nightmares. Ah.
Next up on the list is a very unknown one called The Brotherhood of the Wolf. It was originally actually a French movie, and they dubbed it.
yes.
And it's really, really cool, man. It's got almost like Matrix vibes in like Victorian France, and like a werewolf that's got a special story to it. It's really cool. Like totally worth your time.
I am so glad you brought that up. When I was putting my list together, I could not for the life of me, and I was almost like Googling like weird European movie with a wolf or something.
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh,
So good.
I knew you would know it. Oh, attaboy. All right.
Next up on my list was The Ring, just because, man, it was like in our teenage years, right? And man, it jacked me up for a long time. Like where the TV, if you saw that static, you're like, I gotta get out of here, just because. And you just imagine people would be pranking each other, right? This was pre like iPhone days, where like you're like 7 days and you're like, stop it, dude, I'm gonna call the police. Like people were getting freaked out. Another one on the list that's not really well known is called VHS. If you ever want to see just one that's really kind of will jack you up, it's called VHS. It's kind of, I think it's 3 different stories that are told from the story of like a video camera, almost Blair Witch style, but they also incorporate some supernatural stuff. And they freaked me out the first time. Like it legitimately, like I thought it was crazy.
How old are those? When did you see them?
VHS is relatively new, but there's sequels to it. So there's like VHS and a second, and then like a third.
Because the one guy that I really liked that was like, this is my list, so please don't hate me, like it's mine. Had VHS 2 like really, really high on his list.
They're cool, man. I really.
So I had never heard of them before.
They're different. They're unsettling is a good way to put them. Next up on the list is actually kind of more in the comedy genre, believe it or not, is Freddy versus Jason. And they're up higher on the list too, those other movies. But again, iconic characters from our childhood. And for decades before that movie, people were like, could you imagine if Jason fought Freddy? Like, and there were arguments about who would win. And they finally made it into a movie. And the movie is like, it's okay as a movie. It had Kelly Rowland in it, fantastic actress.
Kelly Rowland.
And, but it was really, it was borderline funny and of course horror movie. It was just great to see those iconic characters, and it had a cool ending. Like the way they did the ending was really well done. So that was fun. Next up on the list, I also saw with chance was Bride of Chucky. Didn't we see that together at the Man Theaters? Was that not you?
I don't think I've ever seen a Chucky
It's
movie.
also in that genre of like borderline comedy, but definitely still a horror movie. Definitely was much better graphics in like the original 3. Iconic picture of Chucky where he's like all torn up and sewn together and stuff. Great movie. Next up is the first Freddy Krueger one. It was actually the remake. I liked the remake better than the old ones. I think it was Michael Bay that did the remake. Did a great job. Like just really updated it very well, made it very creepy. You know, the story of Freddy Krueger basically being a janitor in a school and like potentially harming kids. Like that's how he becomes a monster and stuff. Like just really creative. They did a great job with the remake. I really liked it. Next up, 13 Ghosts. Had Shannon Elizabeth in it, and was like a really cool story about like a house that was like kind of a machine, and they needed these ghosts, and you could only see them with these glasses and stuff, but there were some pretty creepy ones in there, and a decent story. Next up is an old one called The Thing. It's a John Carpenter movie.
Yes. So the
Really great
Moriarty
movie.
Brothers Knockback. I need to watch that. And they just did Nightmare on Elm Street. I need to watch these. Oh, and they did Exorcism. So Jose is just knocking on.
Yeah, and they did a remake of The Thing. It's kind of like a sequel that was actually really good. I actually really liked it too. But the original is just, God, it's so good, dude. And it has Kurt Russell in it. And there's some stuff that just you will not expect, but really, really great. Chance?
Well, and what made The Thing, because I have seen that one actually, and I remember because we had a film club a long time ago at Gateway, and I didn't know this about The Thing, but what made it so special too is that all of it was real, the effects and everything. So there were no special effects. It was all handmade, everything, and that's why. And I didn't see the sequel because I was like, well, it's not the same.
You should see the sequel, dude. They did a really good job with it because they didn't just remake the first one. They put some twists on it in a good way. Next up on the list, we're in my top 5 now. Was the first DVD I ever bought, which was Deep Blue Sea. LL Cool J, really smart sharks in the middle of the ocean.
That counts.
Such a great movie, dude. And it's
if that counts, that might skyrocket all the way up
it's
to
on the
one
border
for me.
of horror, but it's definitely designed.
They ate me.
I mean, and I didn't have Jaws on my list, but Jaws is also a great movie.
Now Jose's going to tell me he's got snakes on a plane on his list too.
I
Come
don't
on
have that on my
now,
list.
Jose.
It's Twilight, Snakes on a Plane, High School
gosh.
Musical.
Drop Dead Gorgeous. Next up is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, the original one, which was also just incredibly creepy and obviously based off of not Gacy. one of the real serial killers of the 70s. But the remake, the one that was done with like Jessica Biel in it and stuff like that, was like, whew,
I have seen
it
that.
definitely
one.
was.
I did see that.
Really dark and scary and very weirdly believable because of like.
Let me ask you this, because I get it mixed up all the time with House of a Thousand Corpses. I think, aren't they really similar?
They're very. I mean, they're similar ideas that like a group of friends driving through the country, car breaks down, and they basically get tortured by like a backwoods kind of family. House of a Thousand Corpses was significantly more unsettling and like very just jacked up. It was made by Rob Zombie, right? Who has a brilliant mind, but also very dark. This one, I want to say it was either Wes Craven or maybe Michael Bay that did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. But he did a great job. The Leatherface rendition was really awesome. Next up on the list, Dawn of the Dead remake, the one with Mekhi Phifer and Ving Rhames, where they're in the mall, not the 70s version,
Great
even though
movie.
that's a great
Forgot
version,
about
but
that.
really great movie. Just like it was kind of predating
Disturbing.
some of that zombie stuff with like Walking Dead. It also has Phil Dunphy in it as really a jerk, and he plays a really great character in that movie, and a really cool sequence to end the movie, and then a great ending. Also a really dope soundtrack. Last three. The original Halloween with Michael Myers, like just such an iconic film. Jamie Lee Curtis, the music, everybody knows like the Mr. Sandman song. Everyone knows the classic piano riff, the dun 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 dun, like that thing. And then also the remake that Rob Zombie did. I thought he did a really cool job of it. He did make it significantly darker, but still in that same universe. And then the sequel, I actually really like two of that. But my number one movie, it is a Friday the 13th movie. That is my favorite franchise by far. I actually bought them all on iTunes for like $20 last year. So I have all 8 of them that I've been watching through this month. My favorite is number 4. So in the sequence of the movies, they actually made one, which is
right before 4. I got 1 through 3.
so spoiler alert, but you've had 40 years. So on
No,
you're on your own.
don't spoil 4. No, don't do it. I'm literally about to watch it.
So let me just say this. When they originally made them, they were only going to make 4 of them. They were going to make 4. So number 4 is called The Final Chapter. They ended up making 5, 6, 7, 8. Then they made Jason Goes to Hell. Then they made Jason X. Then they made Freddy versus Jason. I mean, like they just kept it going and going. And now they've restarted remaking them like with Michael Bay. But I love it. Corey Feldman is in number 4. It also has the most nudity of all of the Friday the 13th movies. Just a fun fact if you see the unedited version. But it's like the most iconic of like some of the weapons you've seen Jason with. It has, I think, the best resolution with like killing Jason in it. So it's my number 1 favorite movie of Halloween. It's actually, I'm watching it right now. I'm on number 3. It's the next one I get to watch probably here in the next couple days. So I'm excited, but I love horror movies. As a kid, they scared me a lot. And I think the way I got through it was just watching lots and lots of them. That's how I kind of got over it. So yeah, I love Halloween, love scary movies. And if you've made it this far in the episode, I salute you. If you ever want to chat about scary movies, hit me up.
Great topic.
Well, and I got to ask, were you not counting Aliens as a scary movie? Because that was
it's my
like
number
your
1 movie.
best-
I have it. I had it, but I would put that more in the science fiction realm. I mean,
I need to watch that too.
Yeah, because it popped up on some of the scary movie things I was watching, and Jose, and I don't know if you know this about me. I've never seen any.
I'm not judging.
It's okay.
Here's
I
what
don't
I'd
think I
say.
have either chance. Parts. I've seen parts.
If you watch them now, I think you still will like them, both of you. A lot of these movies, but it's.
Oh wait, no, I saw Prometheus. That's one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's in that universe.
Yeah, actually, I
Isn't that a
did see
prequel or
that
something
too.
like
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, it's a prequel.
yeah,
They're just.
yeah. But you didn't
Yeah,
know
I
it
did.
at the time when it came out, which I think was super cool.
Yeah,
Well,
Jose
you
would
probably-
appreciate
yeah.
it way more than we would. Yeah,
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
did
and
kinda-
if you see it now, if you see them Aliens, and Alien 3, you could probably skip Alien 3. Honestly, you will just get a lot more like references, and you'll see the world kind of coming together with a lot of these. Like as you watch the Friday the 13th, you'll get all these references about Jason and Camp Crystal Lake. You know, the Friday the 13th game. Remember, like the opening scenes you would see when it's loading. All of those are from movies.
it's really cool. Like the spear death. I'm like, I
The
know
spear through the
that.
bed,
I
right?
know that.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
So I can't wait to watch these.
And then, yeah, and then the other one, I've never seen any of the Predator movies. Does Predator not count?
I
Is
would
that
say more sci-fi action, but also I love the Predator films. I love the one that they did with Adrian Brody, like the more modern one. I like where there was like big predators, the one with Olivia Munn. That was the newest one. Like, Alien, Predator, Terminator, horror, sci-fi, like that is my world.
Terminator's fantastic.
I'm glad I put all these missed classics on
Jose,
here.
I'm gonna need you to send me.
Man, I got a
your
backlog of
definitive
movies.
list. Yeah, that's the problem though, Chance. Like you're saying, it's just hard to get Allie to watch them with me. Like I'm like, come on, we can do Scream. Come on, and she's like, no, like nightmares.
So that's the other thing about Haunting on Hill House and why it would have been number one had it been a movie. Ashley even loved it. She was like, "This is an incredible
Allie did get through The Witch with
piece
me,
of
and
art."
I felt like I was more freaked out than she was from it. But Paranormal Activity, though, Chance, that I remember getting like serious chills in my back of my neck from Paranormal Activity. So thanks for bringing that nightmare back.
And that one's at least based.
You
off
have to
of,
see that in
yeah,
theaters,
that's
though.
based
There's
off
nothing
of
like
something
yeah,
real,
exactly like the potential of ghosts and stuff like that.
Oh, but they're still worth seeing now.
Oh,
they
yeah,
were
look at
they were
Chappelle here.
so freaky.
Yeah, if you have a good
Paranormal
sound bar,
Activities.
Chance. Anyway, we could talk about this all day, guys.
The LG that OLED does amazing sound
course
just
it
by
does.
itself.
Let's move on, guys.
Yeah, well, you
to
come
the
hear
best
it, my
food
friend.
we had this week. We're at the hour 39-minute mark. This has to be quick, but I have to do this because I have to shout out my wife, Allie. Shout out. This is for you. The best food I had this week was from you. You cooked an amazing meatloaf, you guys. She found this recipe. It was incredible. Usually you have to have ketchup or sometimes they do some spicy barbecue. I was just I had probably 12 ounces of this, not even kidding. No need for any other kind of seasoning or sauces or ketchup or anything like that. Just devouring it. Green beans, mashed potatoes, and gravy. Shout out to my wife. The best food I had this week. Jose, quickly, what did you have? That was the best food. And Chance, you too. Quick.
Mine was also a homemade one. It was Victoria. She made these bean and cheese quesadillas, but she used only mozzarella. Like that's what we had in the fridge. And then she used like Frito-Lay bean dip as like she spread the bean dip to the cheese quesadilla. Phenomenal.
All right, we lost Chapeau Bear.
No, I'm back.
Oh,
okay,
no.
he's back.
Right, mine.
She spread the
Okay.
beans.
Sorry,
She spread the beans. We lost it,
Frito-Lay
spread
bean
the
dip,
beans.
then mozzarella cheese, garlic salt as a quesadilla. Phenomenal. Like it was
Sounds-
absolutely awesome.
Sounds
Check it out.
fantastic. By the way, Jose,
yeah.
your camera has been Walmart connection this entire
Yeah.
time, so get that fixed. Bubble
Your
Boy
guys'
close
have
us
been
off.
Walmart connection this entire time.
The best food.
Yeah, I was inspired to make a stop at Good Times based off our fries from the other a few episode. Those fries hold up. They're absolutely incredible. I got the wild fries. The wild fry dipping sauce is wonderful. They don't even need it, though. I had to force myself not to eat the entire bag on the way home. And I got the Oktoberfest burger there, which is a must get. I loved it. It's on a pretzel bun, and a lot of places don't do pretzel buns well, and I think they really half-ass the pretzel buns. This is a really well done pretzel bun, and beer cheese and onions, and pickles and some pickles on it. It was Oktoberfest burger. Good times. Go get it. Enjoy the
Did
wild
you pull
fries. You
Cora,
will
they
not
forgot
be
your fries. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, no, so it was just for myself because I had Cora was at school and Ashley had texted me, I already had a salad and now I'm going to go take a nap. So I was like, I could get this and she'll never
Speaking
even
of
know.
fries, shout out
She found
Moe's.
out.
I had Moe's tonight. Moe's fries. Try them, you guys. If you haven't had them in a while, wow, blew me away. I'm like, these are really good. So that was the best food we had this week. Thank you so much to everyone for watching and listening. If you've made it this far, huge shout outs. We'll do a defining dude. They like to do a hashtag at the end. This will be scary movie hashtag scary movies XRT. If you've made it this far,
Yeah.
use that on Twitter and we'll make sure to shout you out. You can find me, Daddy Duwally, across all social media. You can find Chipotle_bear on Twitter. Bubbleboy7, sometimes, I don't know, Instagram. I don't even know anymore. And as always, soldiers, see you online.
See you online.
See you
Chappelle's
online.
muted.
See you online.
Okay, let's try that again. And as always, Battlefield soldiers, see you online.
See you online. And whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Oh, shit.
Dun, 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 dun.
Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walenzik. You can follow him at Daddy Duwally on all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear on Twitter. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoyN7. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media. If you'd like to find out more about the show, visit xboxrecordthis.com.